then yeah, that's what's more important, I think, in a live show, is like sharing a good energy over sharing a perfect performance.
Hello, welcome to Stories from a Room, a So Far Sounds podcast where we explore the inspiring journeys of incredible artists we love and the stories that shaped their music. I'm your host, Josh Savage, and today I'm joined by Michael Sebastian, a live dance music artist from South Africa. Blending electronic, world, and jazz music, he's graced festivals like Green Man and Secret Garden Party, and even shared stages with James Blake and Fortet. Michael, great to have you here. What inspired you to begin combining music and dance together?
To begin combining music and dance, well, I never really expected that. But one of, I guess, my side hustles is playing for uh, contemporary dance. So I sit in the
Okay.
classes and have been soundtracking the dancers for a number of years. And they learn the routines, and then I play for them. And I'll give them like tempo and put it into the loop station and beatbox, and then layer up a groove for them to dance to. And then I did that for many years, and I was like, oh, the dancers are just dancing and I'm doing the music. And then yeah, there was one point where I got jealous of them, I think, because they're all frolicking about having an amazing time. I also love playing music, obviously, but then I was working really hard to. So I wanted to, yeah, be a part of it, I suppose, and feel what it feels like on the other side.
Fantastic. Gosh, how many side hustles do you have? What does it take
Uh,
these days to be a full-time musician?
they're all very like music and performance orientated, thankfully. Um, but yeah, a range of different things.
Fantastic. Well, I'd love to learn more. So let's dive in to the beginning. So you're from South Africa. Which part of South Africa?
From Cape Town.
Cape Town. Beautiful.
Mm.
Why aren't you still there? What a beautiful place. Why are you coming to
Sometimes I
Europe this
ask
time of year?
myself the same question.
Fair.
But I came to the UK for music. I wanted to train in, I think, like popular and contemporary music, and there wasn't so much for that in South Africa. And
Okay.
also, there's a much bigger infrastructure for music in the UK, so that drew me.
Makes sense. So what
Mhm.
got you into music in the first place? What were your first tiptoes into this this industry?
I think. Do you remember the reality series Idol, or
No.
like Pop Idol?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, there was a version of that in South Africa, and I wasn't on it, but we had a like mimic contest uh, at my prep school. So when I was like 11, uh, I auditioned with uh, Linkin Park in the end.
Oh,
Um,
brilliant. Love that
yeah,
song.
and then it's banger. And then I won it with Bon Jovi. It's my life, and that was the moment where I was like, I want to be a musician for the rest of my life.
Wow. So were you singing quite a lot before that?
Yeah, I was singing and I was playing in. I played bass in like a band with two other mates at school, and
That's not a real
we
instrument.
nah. we were really bad as well. Um, we were called Frozen Hi-Fi first, and then we changed our name to Bullet when we wanted to get a little bit more hardcore.
Okay.
Um,
So that's how you ended up screaming
so yes,
Linkin Park
those
afterwards.
were the days, and then it was that moment of the Pop Idol uh, like school competition when I won it. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. I want to keep doing this.
So where did that take you next?
I think that kind of like landed it in my mind, and then throughout high school I played it as much as possible. I also did a lot of acting, um, and played in bands and stuff and wrote songs, etc., etc. But it was when I moved to the UK that the things began to get really music focused, and I did a music course in Scotland, um, for 4 years, which was amazing. It was just 4 years of playing in bands, um, without the pressure of the industry, uh, because you're a student, so you can do whatever you want and be as creatively free and mad as you want. So that was cool. I played in like an alt prog rock band, and then I played in a like pop funk band, like Bruno Mars, Jamiroquai type vibes, which was also quite fun. Um, and yeah, and then worked on my solo project as well. And then that was the that was the first set of, I guess, education. And then after that, I went to London.
So this is primarily playing guitar, not the bass. And what was the course you studied in Scotland?
Yeah, so the course was uh, it was like just a popular music course, and then
Okay.
um, I did that with singing actually. So I was still playing guitar, but singing was my main instrument at uni.
Which city? Was it Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, Napier.
Michael, it seems like you come from a variety of different genres with your music. Why is that, and where do you think that comes from?
Uh, so initially it was all rock music when I was a teenager. Uh,
All that
yeah,
teenage angst.
all that was so much teenage angst. I think, yeah, Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, Black Sabbath, um, yeah, Motley Crue, like just every kind of form of angst I went into as a teenager. Um, yeah, and then I've always been kind of really into that kind of like really fiery energy, and then I think that morphed into like lots of different things at uni. I was listening to jazz and just like any experimental stuff that I could get my hands on to kind of broaden my taste palette. Um, and then it was after, but never really so much dance music. I think it wasn't like a club kid. I was always, uh, yeah, I was always at gigs and loved bands and stuff. Um, and then after uni, I moved to London. I went to a dance music festival for 2 weeks. It was Outlook and Dimensions in Croatia, and it was in this like old fort,
Oh wow!
military fort in Croatia. And they had the opening concert in an old Roman amphitheater. It was amazing, and yeah, that blew my mind. And then I was like, "Well, dance music's where it's at." um,
Why? Why
but
is it where it's at?
I don't know. It was just for me. I was like, wow, I don't know, seeing these kind of like long house and techno sets, and seeing the kind of the kind of like long form musical journey that these DJs could take people on, and also just how much fun people were having. Um, yeah, it was really cool. But then I was like, well, I'm not a DJ and I don't know much about, but I play guitar, and maybe I could figure out a little bit about how to kind of mimic this energy with my instrument.
So when was this roughly?
This was just after I got out of uni,
Okay.
like,
How long
yeah,
ago is that?
10, 10 years ago.
Time flies, eh?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And so, how did you? That's amazing because, yeah, I never even thought of that. How you've definitely kind of adapted that DJ style, but in the live element, and that's what makes you so special at So Far Sound shows. I was actually looking at your tally. You're now at 113 So Far Sound shows. Is that correct?
That's crazy. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And where have you played So Far Sound shows?
Mostly in London. Uh, I've played in Berlin
Yeah, you have.
with you, yeah, a couple times. And where where else? Bristol and Brighton. I've done so far, and Hull as well.
I remember you saying that. It cracked me up.
Yeah.
Funny. I don't even know if Hull's so far still going. I think a lot of them stopped in the pandemic, unfortunately.
Mm.
And what's been the weirdest one, the most unexpected?
The most unexpected. I think what's cool about them is that they're all slightly unexpected. You never really know where you're going or who's playing or what the vibe is. Um, there's just some random venue. There was one that was like in a basement in Piccadilly Circus, uh, but the basement was the inside of a plane,
Oh
so
wow!
it was like you were inside a plane. It was like a Virgin Money thing. It was very random, but I played the show as if we were on a flight, and then everybody was like a couple stories underground, and that was a bit strange.
That's so cool. That sounds like one of the best ones. I don't know if I could even top that. That's so cool. Do you know if that's still going? That venue?
That venue,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know. I haven't played there again.
So how, as a dance act, um, do you? Yeah. How do you even find yourself on the live music scene? How do you get the right shows for that? Do you just play in like normal roots venues, or is it a bit more challenging?
Yeah, I think I tried. So I'll dial back a bit
Yeah.
because I've tried to do the like normal music industry thing at the beginning, and it was a mission, and it didn't work. Like try and play the gigs in the small venues and do that.
I'd love to dig into that. So why is that challenging for artists to do the normal music industry thing? What are even the challenges? Yeah.
Well, I got to London after music school, and I was like, okay, cool. Well, I want to be. I've got my music degree, and now I get to be a musician and a rock star, and that's very cool. And then I came to London, and I was working like dodgy promo jobs most of the time, just so I could play a gig every fortnight with a band who were like every 6 months someone would leave, so I would kind of have to start again, and then you'd play the gig to like I don't know, 10 of your mates who the following fortnight would be like five of your mates because they saw you the fortnight before. Uh, and then you're on a lineup in some dodgy venue with like, I don't know, a screamo band and then an, a kind of, weird, I don't know, acoustic act and just like, it was just a really jarring thing. Because I guess the kind of old perspective is like come to the city, play a couple gigs, and then things begin to build. But that didn't necessarily work for me. And then I started busking, and busking with the loop station on the side. Um, and at that point, I'd kind of like rejected the industry. I'd had like a dodgy experience with a label, and the gigs were like a mission. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go and play on the street. Uh, but I'm going to do it all day, every day. And I did for a number of years.
Wow.
And that was like the second part of my musical education, I guess, where I really figured out what yeah how to kind of communicate with people through music, because I was just playing improvised grooves on the loop station, um, and it was how I was paying my rent, so and everything else. So I needed to make money, so it was quite humbling. Um, and there were lots of kind of musical lessons that I learned through just being on the streets and
Such as,
playing.
give us the
Uh,
goss.
the first one is people can tell when you're thinking about the money.
Okay.
When you're like, and when you're like trying to, when people are walking past and you're like, oh, I wish you would put a pound, and then your attention is like, how do I impress that person, or how do I call them in and get them to give me some cash or whatever, and then they don't, and then that's depressing, and then they can feel your depression as well, and then they kind of see you looking out of your case and they get scared off. So that was one of the first lessons that I learned. Was uh, I had to just play for myself essentially, and really try and let the music give me as much of an experience as possible. And then if I was completely in it, people would walk past and witness, and that would magnetize people's attention. And through that, that's when I started, to make money from it properly.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, David Bowie does say don't play to the stage or something like that. I've absolutely butchered that. But he does say how you do have to play for the crowd. That's it. Don't you don't play for the crowd. And yeah, wow, that's so cool. Did you know? I heard this psychological trick in busking. Maybe it's something you worked on as well. Apparently, if you
Mm-hmm.
just get just a few friends watching you at the beginning of your busking set, just like people naturally see other people stopping, so then that makes them curious, and then it'll make them watch you busking more as well. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
yeah. You definitely, there are like moments of accumulation. So like when you're on a vibe, and then a few people will collect, and then it'll be like a load, because they'll all be
Mm,
like, oh, what's going on here? But those first few are can be harder to kind of pull,
yeah.
I guess.
Where were you busking, and are you still busking today?
A lot on the South Bank. Um, every Saturday morning at Broadway Market for a couple of years. Uh, Also at all the train stations. I had a license to play at the train stations.
Oh wow, fantastic!
Um, yeah, so all around, with a massive trolley and like loads of gear and a speaker
I bet.
but yeah, I haven't busked for a while, um, but I do love it. There's something really punk rock about just going out and just forcing your music into public, and the and the kind of like risk of it, and also that it's really low pressure as well, because if you get to a point where you're not too attached to the outcome, then you've got all this time and space to explore and see what works, see what doesn't work, and
As long as you
uh,
play for yourself.
as long as you play for yourself, yeah. But
What's
there's loads
your
of things that can mess things, like bad weather,
yeah?
uh, other buskers, policemen. Like, I don't know. There's there's so many things that can get in the way.
You must have so many anecdotes. What's your most memorable busking moment?
So the biggest busking moment for me was I I just recorded my first loop album, and I really wanted to promote it. So I booked a Flixbus from London to Berlin, um, and then I played, and I had no money left because I'd spent all of my time making the album and not focusing on earning anything. So by the time the album was ready, I had an album and no money. And then I spent the last of the cash on a bus to Berlin, and then I got some CDs printed, and arrived in Berlin with no money in my CDs, and then the challenge was to get back to London. Um, and so I played in each city for like a week, um, and then the goal in the morning was to get enough money for lunch, and then the goal in the afternoon was to get enough money for dinner and a hostel, and if there was any more, then maybe some beers, and then over the week, like, to accumulate enough to get the bus to the next town, um, which I would then keep on doing until I made it back to London.
How are you feeling in that moment where you're nervous wreck?
I think I'd expected to be, uh, but actually there was something really freeing about it, because I think something about, like, now I'm thinking about releases in June and what I'm trying to do, and like mixing and all of these different processes all at once, and living in the future and the past. And whereas that, I woke up and I was like, I've got one thing that I need to do today, and I just got to do it, because if I don't, then I'm in trouble. So it was cool. It kind of almost took the nervousness away because I knew that I had to do stuff. So arriving in like new cities where I'd maybe be like a little bit nervous to set up and do my thing, I'd be like, well, I'm here. It's got to happen. I've got to eat and I've got to sleep. So let's go.
Do you have any scary moments from like people in the public, or where like I've heard some horror stories where people get their stuff confiscated by the police as well when they're busking?
Yeah, I mean, numerous occasions of people getting a little bit, uh, yeah, aggressive. I don't know. There's so many like weird dark moments that I could share, but I think maybe also on the other side, there's like 90% of it is just people being amazing to you. Like the amount of words of encouragement, um, or you kind of find people at like a time in their day where they're not expecting it, and your music touches them, and then there's like you just get this like wealth of gratitude. And as a busker, you live off people's generosity, um, and that's even though there's some dodgy moments, it makes it's a really inspiring and rewarding experience.
Beautiful. And from busking, would you say that was quite well? It was clearly really important for you to grow as an artist and build your skills and learn how to interact with an audience. And that's probably one of the hardest audiences you can actually play to, I think, busking in the streets. And especially if you manage to maintain people's attention, then that you can really take that on board to the stage and in intimate spaces like at SoFar. Did you find that you were gaining? Well, actually, yeah, I'll ask this one first. Did you gain like a good following from that, where you could like then bring fans to a venue that you could then sell out? Where did you go from there?
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of everything. Um, and I think what's cool about it is you're putting your energy out, or your vibe, or your musical whatever it is, and then thousands of people might walk past and they might not be like aligned or whatever, but then those people that do walk past and they are really into it, then those are the opportunities that kind of created the rest of my work and career. So I had like, yeah, then as I was busking, I would begin to gig more, because then people would be like, oh, do you want to come and play here or do this? And you connect with people and videographers and photographers, and yeah, and then the more I began to do shows, the more people from the streets would come, which is cool.
That's how Passenger built his career, isn't it? Was that an inspiration for you to go busking, or was it something else entirely?
No, not particularly, but yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest way to do it.
For sure.
uh, Especially now when you can do lots of stuff from socials, but it's a great way. With it kind of circumvents the industry, so you kind of, they're like, if the industry's over there and they're like, you need to do this and you need to do that and this is what's cool and that's what's not cool, you can swerve that and just go play to real people, and then you see what actually really works.
How was your experience with this industry thing you mentioned earlier? Was it a label you were speaking with before, and it wasn't for you in
Yeah,
the
it was
end?
just like a dodgy label that I'd done an EP or an album with, and they were just lazy and they didn't do any promotion, and I felt hard done by. So,
Right.
because in the beginning they were like, "Oh, label! Oh my god!"
You made it.
So yeah, yeah. So ever since then, I've done stuff as like reasonably independently, but now I have like a little bit of a team, but it's all people who are like adjacent to, not like a top down people telling me what to do and what not to do. It's like Brandon, my manager, I work with, but we're on the same level, and other people, yeah, we all kind of work on the same level, which feels nice, and we're mates, which is important too.
Amazing. I think people. artists don't fully understand that. It's like at the end of the day, the artist is the CEO, and they are essentially hiring the manager to come up with a strategy and plan to put things in place. And it's not the other way around. Like, you are the boss of the manager, not the other way around. And I feel like some people can get lost in that. And I think that's why artists, especially young artists, can get lost, because they follow not necessarily their own dream and their own path, but someone else's. How did you find your? Well, yeah, I guess how did you find your path, and what mattered to you in the in your music journey?
It's a tough one. I think like everything kind of evolves over time, but I think making sure to stick with what I'm curious about. So if there's something I'm like intrigued by, that I feel like a creative like magnetism towards, that's always the direction, even if it's not necessarily what's what's cool, what's industry appropriate, what seems like a wise move. But I think it's what's kept my interest in my own work for so long, is that anytime I'm pulled towards something like really strongly, then I say, okay, let's go, even if there's a lot of uncertainty, or it feels like a risk. um yeah, because that's where kind of growth and interesting new things come out, instead of going in the same circle over and over again.
So after your busking venture, and you made it back in one piece, so that's amazing. What happened next for you? Were you is this when you played your first So Far Sound show? How did you even become connected with So Far? And tell me about your first ever So Far Sound show.
First So Far Sounds show, I was so nervous because I was like so excited to be on the bill, and it was in a living room, and I think my mum was in town, and she came, and I was like, "Mum, I can't talk to you at the gig," because I was like, "You can come, but you have to pretend not to know me," because I really need to do a good job at this gig. Um, and yeah, it was really special, and I played, and I did, yeah, I think only maybe 3 tunes. But yeah, since then, so far has been like that's been a huge place for me to kind of grow and experiment with what I do, because the level of attention that you get at a So Far Sounds is, it's very hard to find in other places. And it's such a gift as an artist, because you can really curate a journey, um, from the first note to the last note, because everyone's with you. Um, with other gigs, sometimes if everyone's talking, then you're just creating a vibe. Or the same thing with busking, is like you can be following your own intricate melodies and journey and intensity, but the audience is like half with you. But with So Far, everyone's there the whole time, so you can use all of the silence, and you can use the I don't know, attention and curiosity, and also the intimacy, because everyone's sat there. So there's real conversational element as well. So um so yeah, I played a bunch, and then I think I started wanting to break a little bit my own molds and just play with stuff. So I started, yeah, having like doing more kind of tricks and little things to kind of uh, to yeah, to mess with the audience a little bit, but also to bring them further into the experience and to create something more memorable and different.
Yeah, I don't think people understand just how attention is such a precious commodity these days. Like, people have such short attention spans, and even songs are getting shorter and shorter. They're getting close to 2 minutes now. When I started my music career, like, it was like 4.5 minutes or something crazy, and that's just like unheard of these days. Um,
Mm.
and and that's why I value the value that shows as an artist too. Why did your first So Far show mean so much to you? Why did you really have to smash that one compared to any other show?
I think because I knew that it was like uh, a cool thing to be on, and if I played it well, I could probably get a few more gigs, um, and I did with like 100. So it was
113 and
yeah,
counting.
yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was well worth it.
And why do you think So Far sound shows are actually important for artists? We've spoken about the attention. Um, how have you leveraged the platform of So Far Sounds to grow and take you to the bigger stages and the festivals?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that the audience, you don't have to promote it yourself, because
Massive.
as an independent artist, to fill a room of 100 people is a lot of work, and it's possible. Um, yeah, but with a So Far, at least in London, because they happen so often, I can play them quite regularly. It means just to have access, and you have the attention of all of these new people super frequently. So it was a really cool way of building up my audience. And then I've done some really big shows over the past couple of years that I wouldn't have been able to do without shouting about them at the So Far shows. So I played a venue in London called Colour Factory, which is in Hackney Wick, and then I played Earth Theatre.
How
And
big are these?
Colour Factory is 500, and
Massive for
Earth
new artists.
was
Yeah.
800 people. Um, and so they were both like mega shows, kind of sold independently. But for both of them, I think half of the tickets were me after the So Far gig being like, I've got this massive show. You all have to come. I'm going to stand by the door and not let you leave until you get a ticket.
Fantastic. Can you just explain how much work it takes to market a big show like that for a new artist, for people who don't fully comprehend? Like, if you had to put a percentage on how much time you actually focus on the music for those big shows and how much you have to market it, what number would you put on it?
Oh yeah, marketing is like, there's way more. um, but I think the thing that you don't realize is that you're like, okay, well, I need. It's like say the venue's 800 cap, and you're like, okay, I need 800 people, but you don't need. But that's not account like, you need to reach, or maybe you need like 10 times that to want to come, to be like, oh, that sounds cool. I'd love to come to that show, but only 1 out of 10 will be available, have the money to come, be in the same country, not get sick the week before, etc., etc., etc. So there's like, of the people that would actually you need to convince to come, there's like 10 times more than that, and probably a bunch more than that is the amount of people that you actually need to reach with awareness, because not everybody's going to want to come. And yeah, I think not the mistake, but the thing that I underestimated was like, oh, I've got this many mates, and these people have this many mates of that, and like, if we get them, then it'll happen. Um, but but yeah, it's like I had to reach this amount of people to get that many. So it's not something to be underestimated.
Yeah. How's your relationship with social media? Do you enjoy it? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? It's taking it away more than it's giving for artists?
Oh, I think it's like, it's been both the worst and best thing in in my life. I think so cool as an independent artist, the ability to share your creativity with others, um, the ability to stay connected to a network, the ability for people to like reach out to you um, when they want you to do stuff, and to have like a portfolio that is engaging, and that people can stick with, uh, is cool. And also, uh, a lot of people complain about having to make content, but I think I've reframed that, and I actually really enjoy doing stuff for content because it's you can do whatever you want. Like you can do anything. So I've done loads of like really fun shoots, or just like, I don't know, dancing in the streets of Lisbon, or putting on lots of event and just like wild things, just in order to make content for social media. And all of those things have been super fun and expanded my creative practice. So yeah, that's the positive side. And then uh but yeah, posting all the time is so stressful because you're putting yourself out there and you want people to like your stuff. Um and then there's also the thing that the social machine, you could never, it's always hungry, like you could never feed it enough content. And then there's all of the like nasty ways that it rewires your brain and your like self-worth in relation to how people are responding to what you're putting out. So currently, my at least my plan for this year is to kind of like identify the content and the creative stuff that I need to do for it, and then just almost like look the other way and throw it on the platform, so that I'm not too invested with the outcome, but I keep doing the fun creative stuff and keep engaged with people on there.
And alongside that, how do you still stay creative?
In what sense? Like alongside having to do socials all the time?
Yeah, I guess staying, well, because of course it takes so much time to practice your instrument, to stay sharp, and songwriting. Although a lot of your shows are improv, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I
Doesn't
guess,
yeah, it doesn't mean you don't need to practice or be like on it.
of course, if not more so, because you kind of need to. Why I wouldn't know. Like, why don't you answer that? So why do you still need to practice if you don't need to write songs as much, for example?
Because instead of having like, I guess with a song that's written, you know the direction you're going, and then if you're improvising, you need to have like 6 different directions available to you at all times. And the less in touch you are with your practice, the more the fewer directions you have, I guess. So yeah, I really notice it when I'm not playing and or on it.
I could see that when you played So Far Sounds Berlin and a random guy in the audience had his trombone with him and you just did an impromptu duo. It was amazing. I really, really enjoyed that. And you had like a nice little bit of call and response, and that was incredible.
Yeah, that was really cool. I love that.
Does that happen often at your shows? Is that something that took you back to your busking days, maybe, with like random people in the streets?
Yeah, so that's also been a huge part of it. I think with the looping is that you can create a structure for people to like jam around in. And I spent 3 months in Bali like a couple of years ago, and
Poor
then
thing.
it was a tough time. But I remember going to the open mic, and then like in a Eurocentric open mic, you get up and you play, and everybody respects your performance, and then they sit there and they listen quietly. Otherwise, if not, then it's rude. But I played this open mic in Bali, and then everybody started getting on the stage, and I was like, "What are you guys doing? This is my 2 songs.
This is my time."
Yeah. But they were actually just enjoying what I was doing, and so they wanted to be a part of it. And so I did a lot of jamming when I was out there. And then towards the end of my time there, I did a show in a temple, and I had like a cellist and a Balinese dancer and a Mongolian throat singer and a djembe player and a bunch of other singers and instrumentalists all joining me for this kind of like improvised interaction. And it was one of the most magical shows I've ever played. And then from then on, I really saw the benefit of like live collaboration, and not just like bringing an artist on stage to sing a verse that's pre-written, but to showcase a kind of relationship and dynamic between two performers as you say something and they respond and they respond, and then you get excited because it sounds cool. And the audience really digs it. So that's been a big part of my practice then, since then. And also I used to like try and take ownership of musicians, where I'd be like, okay, if you play my gig, you need to play this line, you need to do. And then since then, I've realized that most musicians are much better at being themselves than being another version of you. So whenever I work with other musicians now, I do my best to like champion their individuality through what I'm doing.
Love that. Michael, tell us where you are right now and what you're doing.
I am in a monastery in France, which is now converted into a self-organized retreat center. And
I'm on my way.
Yeah, I've been here for 4 weeks, and the place is amazing. I can't let you know exactly where it is. But there's a chapel that I've been singing in, which has an amazing reverb, and there's a dance floor which I've been dancing in every day. And
wow.
there's like a basement club cave where I'm set up, and I've been working on new music. So yeah, and there's a whole bunch of other kind of creatives and artists here. So I've been doing my like winter hibernation creative time here.
That's so cool. So cool. And do you have any goals from your stay there? What's your mission?
Yes. So last week, I was visited by a contemporary dancer from Paris, and then we worked together for the whole week. And I devised a piece using the sounds of the building, like using the bells and the pianos and different things. And then we devised like a dance to it, and then filmed it. And it was kind of like filming a horror film. So yeah, we did that last week, and that's really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that coming out. And then yeah, I'm just working on a bunch of new tunes for the next season.
So how is that coming out, that collaboration, and with your new tunes? So considering a lot of your work is still impromptu improv, are you still releasing frequently on Spotify or stream platforms or in any other form?
Yeah, so I've got music on all of the platforms.
Yeah.
And yeah, I try to release one thing a year. So I've got an album which is kind of pretty much done. That's going to come out this year. And then these ideas will be for next year probably. And the dance collaboration will be up on socials in the next couple of months, I guess.
You released Play in 2017, and your most recent release was Move last year in 2024. How do you think your sound has evolved over that time?
It's changed a lot. Play was super fun, but it was me just like trying everything, trying to be anything and everything and anyone but me. I think maybe.
Okay.
I think maybe there's like a natural artist progression of like when you get into stuff, then you try and do everything that sounds like everyone else, and then after a while, you've tried so many different things that you have this like unique cocktail of what's you and what's your identity as an artist. And I think, yeah, Play was me trying everything, and then the follow up, Kayanda was the first of my like busking loop guitar things, and then from there I kind of defined what it was that I did, and then just put it in different uh, contexts. So yeah, then there was Afia, which was after a trip to Ethiopia and Mali, which is quite Africa inspired, and then there was Kadako, which is like a lockdown, melancholic, angsty, synthy record. And then post that was Move, I guess, which is the first record after COVID, and that was a real celebration of collaboration.
Do you have a favorite?
Just, I think the last three, yeah, are all equal. Yeah.
I'd love to know your first steps into dancing. You were saying how you worked. One of your side hustles was doing the music for this. What was it? What was it again? A dance event or something like that?
Yeah. For contemporary dance.
Right. How did you then take your first steps into moving? I love the way you move, by the way, and I love I guess the confidence that comes out of it. For example, like I do music and I sing so that I don't have to move and dance. So the fact that you do both, I have the utmost respect to you for that. So was it like super nerve-wracking the first time you did it, and how did it feel the first time you did dance during like a live music show, and how do you feel now?
Yeah, it was terrifying, and I think there was like maybe a couple of years ago, if I'd done tried out the same thing, I would have, because there was one show at Grow in Hackney where it was one of the first times where I'd like properly took off the guitar and danced and like was without, I don't know, any musical things, and I was just like, okay, you're just going to look at whatever shapes my body's making now, and and then I remember doing that and waking up the next morning and being like, oh my god, I've cancelled myself.
Far from it.
All of my friends are going to disown me. Yeah, I had a big thing about it, and then I was like, no, this discomfort is probably because it's a direction that I really need to go in and explore. Um, and yeah, I think noticing the way that moving shifts the energy in an audience, like it doesn't really matter what I do, but taking that like leap of confidence, like towards the end of a sofa show or a gig where you take the guitar off and you move and you just go for it. Like there's a moment of like hesitancy from the audience where they're like, what's this guy up to? But ultimately it always like really raises the energy in the room. And that's what I'm kind of searching for with musically and with my performances, is how to create like a really elevated experience. And that's what that was doing. So I was like, I should follow this. And also dancing is just, the more you get into it and the more you like loosen up the cobwebs, the more fun it is. And it's like healing, and it fixes different parts of your body, and it's playful and it's silly, and yeah.
Beautiful. You're almost tempting me to get started. You know, actually, I was just out in Thailand for winter break, and I was spending time in the north, and I was in Pai. Have you been?
No, but I've heard lots about it. How was it?
Of Pai?
Yeah.
Great, and it actually made me think of you because there was like I don't know what genre you'd classify it, but there was like loads of people moving, doing like loads of dance work similar to how you move when you play at shows. And I was like, Michael Sebastian here would absolutely smash it. So I think you should go out there on your next adventure, and I could see you doing really, really well in Pi, and people would really appreciate your work. It's actually an amazing live music scene in the north of Thailand. I was blown away by all the cover bands there. It's not so much a thing for original music, but the cover bands there, like all the bands were sick. I've never experienced so much talent in a foreign country before. Actually, I was well impressed. So yeah, I'll add that to your bucket list.
Did you play there while you were there? Or were
Not
you
in
chilling?
Thailand, actually. I was just there. Actually, just taking time off. It was actually the first time I traveled somewhere and didn't play a show, which was quite nice in a way because I didn't have to kind of stress about keeping my voice and stuff. I could like let loose, which was quite nice. And then yeah, back to winter now, but at least a little bit more refreshed. And it's only like a month to go till spring. What would you say are your favorite? What would you say are your fondest moments with your music path so far? Like when you're feeling low, for example, what moments do you look back on and make you think it was all worth it through all the strife?
I guess there's two. There's like some really outward facing, like remembering Color Factory and Earth, and like I did those with all of my friends, and I had like 15 collaborators on stage, and like there were so many people that I loved in the audience, and so remembering the like capacity for like connection and joy that the work like has previously proved itself to create is really continually motivating. You're like, wow, if I could do something like that, and then I could do it again, or I could do it on a bigger scale. And also how good it felt at the time. But then also there's all of the like personal moments that maybe the audience doesn't see, which is like, I don't know, for instance, now here at the monastery, like I spent the whole morning working on a piece of music, and it was just kind of like me in relation with that music, and I was really enjoying it, and I'm really proud of it. But also there are a lot of my feelings and emotions in that piece. So it's those moments that are consistently fueling the like more outward stuff, is the kind of like personal private relationship that I have with it, and then being like, wow, I've discovered this really cool thing. How do I show everyone?
So how do you show everyone?
Play gigs, I suppose. Yeah, but it's not, or play gigs or release recorded music, but it's like sometimes those moments are so kind of fleeting, or uh or they just happen for a second while you're practicing, or like even socially, if you're just hanging out with a mate, like, and then you start like a jam, like those very low key things which are very precious are often hard to replicate uh in front of an audience, even if you try your best.
Speaking of which, your gigs are so unique because you do improvise so much. Have you ever thought of recording every single show and then you can release a steady stream of content on Spotify or other forms?
That would be cool, but when it comes to recorded music, then I click over into perfectionist. so uh
So
so
the
yeah,
thought of being recorded would take away from that, you think?
no, I don't know, but I think just like records, I want to be really concise, because I'm not there to so I want to make sure that they're, but it's a cool idea, and there's lots of grooves that disappear, which I have felt sad about, because
It could be something you
yeah,
give exclusively on Patreon or something like that.
yeah, that could be cool.
And some of those gigs have been with some big acts, right? Am I right in saying you've supported James Blake, Fortet, and Jamie XX at the Alexandra Palace as well.
Yeah.
Wow. How's
Yeah.
that compared to a living room show or busking?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's kind of cool because I've got this relationship with Ali Pali, and every time it's someone who's like alternative hipster electronica, then they give me a call.
Fantastic.
um, so so yeah, and I was kind of playing the warm up for those shows.
I bet you get
There's a lot
them
of
pretty
people.
warm.
Yeah, because there's yeah, and myself as well. um, but yeah, it's cool, and I'm very aspirational to like look at those artists and see what they're doing as well. Yeah, and realize that I'm not so far. Maybe.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think what you do is so unique as well. Is That's why we love having you at SoFar. And what are you most excited about this year?
I'm not so sure. Like the bookings are beginning to come in, which is cool. People are like, "Do you want to play this thing? Do you want to play that thing?" Uh, I think the thing that I'm most looking forward to is part of my time here is I've been working really hard on a kind of mentality shift from like the hustling busker uh, to the like a musician who's like proved himself to himself, um, and so can kind of like walk with that, move with that confidence, and see uh, what doors that opens. So yeah, I've been trying to break, like after years of busking and years of being like, oh, thank you for every euro, or thank you for every thing that's that's coming. I've been trying to shift into more like what I do is cool. Uh, Look at all these things that I've done that are cool. Let's do more cool stuff, but let's make it happen in a way that's not like yes sir, no sir, please sir. Let's do it, and like I bring value, and let's make cool shit happen together. I guess.
Oh yeah. What's your dream? What are you working towards, and do you have an end goal, or are you just going with the flow?
Yeah, I'd love to um, I'd love to like one part is like be touring the world and playing, just delivering really high energy shows in unique places, um, and just creating like amazing experiences for people, um, that are really kind of like joyous and uplifting that they will like not forget for a long time. And then equally also uh, have a kind of like stable and calm life at home
No
to
such
come back
thing.
to.
No such thing for artists.
Yeah, we'll see.
For this, okay, so for this massive tour around the world in big venues, would you play solo? Are you visualizing like a much bigger production or bigger band? What do you imagine?
Yeah, I think I want to delve deeper into dance and performance, I think, and like having a whole show with dancers and like because I've had dancers on my last tour, but like a bit more choreo, a bit more costume, a bit more um, just getting really extra with everything. I guess.
Awesome. What's next for you? So do you have any releases we should keep an eye out for? Tours around the world potentially? What if so? What cities or collaborations that you're most excited about?
Yeah, I think to go listen to the Move record, which is kind of still out and about, and it's doing its thing, and I'm really
Still
proud of it.
moving.
Still moving indeed. And there'll be a new record out this year, and lots of gigs. So it's a kind of tune in on socials and yeah,
Do you have any
socials and
idea yet
Spotify.
what territories? Do you know what territories
What territories
you'll
of
be gigging in?
definitely Europe, the UK, um, and potentially one or two a little bit further than that, but nothing certain yet.
Very cool. By the way, a good friend of mine, actually my old guitarist, is looking at bringing So Far Sounds back to South Africa. So you might have one in your home country.
Cool. Whereabouts in South Africa? Do you know?
Joburg.
Nice.
So that'd be really exciting. It's actually quite sad for me as an artist as well, just how few so fars there are now compared to the old days when I started in 2013. So I'm trying to work hard to bring them back through my contacts, so that we do have a safe place to perform and to bring our music to new territories and cities where we're unheard of, so that we can potentially so we can eventually tour the world, right?
Yeah, because
And
it's an amazing infrastructure to dive into as an artist. If you
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, at your So Far shows, how do you make sure you're connected with the new faces that you meet at So Far Sounds? I think a great thing that made me successful as an artist through So Far Sounds is that I made sure I went around getting a mailing list. But actually, I think so few artists actually make the most of that and do that. How do you make sure you connect with people from So Far?
Yeah, I think I guess Instagram's the one that I direct people to, but it could be a bit better. But yeah, I guess asking people to come to shows has been a big thing. So like being like, you like this now, get the ticket for the show. I'll see you again. We'll stay friends, kind of thing.
And do you think it's effective doing it with Instagram? Because of course we're then at the mercy of the algorithm, and people who follow you don't necessarily see all your content or all your messages either.
Yeah, I think this is a thing that is not so good. So for the next release, I think we're going to explore ways of migrating the audience to somewhere where it's more intimate and direct.
Totally. Yeah, and I'm glad I did do the mailing list, because back then when I was starting out, it was like Facebook was the hip one, and now no one's really on it anymore. So
Yeah.
And that's the thing, we think these platforms are going to be there forever, but look at the TikTok thing, like that almost got banned, and if you built an audience there, you might have lost them entirely. And the only thing that's stood the test of time so far is email. So artists, get emails. Don't rely on platforms that you don't have full control over. Michael, when people listen to your music, what do you want people to think about when they do that?
I think I would love to kind of encourage people to take joyful risks. So yeah, to step a little bit more into the things that they're curious about, that might bring them joy that maybe they're a little bit nervous about, and kind of share that with as many people as possible.
And I think a big message for you as well is about living in the moment and letting go. Is that right? And why?
Yeah, because being present and surrendering is the most fun. And that's where all the interesting stuff happens. If you orchestrate everything, then life is not surprising. But if you kind of if you let go and see what happens, then sometimes the most amazing stuff happens. Sometimes it's awkward and terrible and embarrassing, but but that's fine as well.
Well, I was thinking, yeah. So when it is awkward and embarrassing, how do you get back up again? How do you recover from that?
I think it like never doesn't hurt, but I've played so many horrendous, bizarre, weird gigs, busks, things that I just know that, like, no matter how bad a gig goes, or how weird, or like, it's not gonna destroy you. It's not gonna hurt you. It's just a weird night, and then the next day is another day and another show.
Michael, I feel like you're holding back. What's your worst one?
my worst.
Do you want to hear mine?
Yeah.
What's you thinking? So
Yeah.
I played a living room show once where there was a bit of a gap between me and the audience. The audience were out the back of the room. There's probably like 30, 40 people there. I was playing on the other side, and I don't. I'd love to know your experience with pets at living room shows, but you just cannot trust pets. And then these dogs, the house dogs, ended up walking in that space between me and the audience. Two female dogs, and then they started humping one another right in between like a really intimate, like sad part of my song. And but I was always taught by my choir master way back in the day when I was a choir boy, no matter what, finish the song, finish the performance. So I'm like playing this really, really intimate moment, pouring my heart out, and meanwhile these dogs are getting off on it. And of course, at that point, the attention is not on me anymore. It's on the dogs. So I feel like that was my moment when you and Barley and when everyone took the stage, but instead I got two dogs humping instead.
That's an amazing story. I've got something similar that happened in Bristol.
Okay.
I was playing on in Stokes Croft on the Friday night, and then the road. So if like the venue faced out onto Gloucester Road, so it was like Friday night in Bristol in the town, and then I'm playing, and there's like it was me, and then there was a glass window, and then there was the audience in front of me, and then but then there's like these two guys walked past and then mooned me and the audience for like an extended period of time, and then walked off. But it was hilarious and like disturbing and weird all at the same time.
And you kept also playing? Because
yeah, I kept playing. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I'd prefer actually.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of live music, right? You just don't know what to expect, and this is why I love watching music as well. It's when things go wrong and the acts just take it in their stride. I prefer that than like a perfect, flawless performance, actually, because that's what makes it human.
Totally. And I think like I make loads of mistakes in my shows, and I'm fine with that. But it's the I think like if an artist it's like a live show it's about the music, but also it's like an energetic interaction between the musician and the audience. And then if you're playing and then you make a mistake, and then you get really awkward and anxious and shy and embarrassed about it, and you're kind of like, then that's going to make the audience feel awkward and embarrassed and shy and uncomfortable. But if you play the mistake and you're like, yeah, whatever, then just play through it, then yeah, that's what's more important, I think, in a live show, is like sharing a good energy over sharing a perfect performance.
Yeah, that's an amazing tip. What's your best advice to new artists today who want to dive into this world of music?
Consistency is a big one. If you really want it, do it all the time, and then you will be able to do it more and more, and people will start paying you to do it. And then also make it work for you, I guess. Like there's so many possible avenues that you could take as a musician, and also like on socials there's ads consistently like trying to make you feel shit about yourself, because you're not mastering, or you're not doing this, or you're not like like achieving. There's so many different metrics for success in music that if you wanted to achieve them all, it's impossible. And and even if you're striving for all of that, then you'll burn out immediately.
Yeah.
So I think defining what you want from your musical career and the things you want to be doing, and chasing that rather than chasing what people tell you success is, will be helpful.
Love that. That's a great note to finish on. Michael, where can people stay in touch with your work?
So on Spotify, it's Michael Sebastian, and on Instagram, I'm at Bastian Creations. So Bastian, like the second half of Sebastian, and then Creations.
Michael, just want to appreciate, just say how much I love what you do and respect for the risk you take, and somehow just make it work. You just somehow dive in at the deep end and excel from it. So thanks for sharing your story today. And yeah, can't wait to see you play again soon, whether that's Berlin, London, or somewhere else in the world.
Amazing. Thanks, Josh. And thanks for having me.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. We've been So Far Stories. We'll see you next time with another great artist.